In this training session, we will be providing you a quick overview of Starfish. Starfish is an enterprise success platform that Cleveland State utilizes to connect students to faculty, staff, and services at the university committed to their success. Over 40 areas within the university use Starfish. These include task, advising, the library, veteran services, and many others. Nearly 100,000 appointments are actually scheduled in Starfish each academic year by undergraduate students. In fact, 800 hours are saved annually by students scheduling appointments themselves versus via a staff member. Over the course of an academic year, over 60,000 tracking items are raised within Starfish. Hundreds of faculty, undergraduate faculty, use Starfish each academic year to communicate to advisors, take attendance, take notes on students, manage their calendars, make referrals, and much more. All undergraduate faculty members at CSU are actually given access to Starfish each term. In fact, all of their courses and meeting times are entered in the Starfish automatically. Faculty can access Starfish by using Blackboard via the Tools or the Instructor tab in CampusNet. Please note that faculty can only access Starfish once they have actually been linked to your class or their classes within CampusNet. Staff can also access Starfish via the Advisor tab in CampusNet, and students can access it two ways as well, via CampusNet or using Tools and Blackboard. When you log into Starfish, you will see a screen similar to this. This is an overview of all the activity of all students connected to you. To be honest, this home screen can be very overwhelming, so we encourage you to change your default login page to another page that you use more frequently. For example, if you use Starfish to schedule student appointments, you may want to make the appointments page your default page. If you use Starfish to take attendance, you may select that page to be your default page. You can change your default page in your institutional profile. On this overview page, you will find the options button, which are the three lines located at the top left of your screen, and you'll use this to navigate between the various screens within Starfish. You'll also find a search box which can be used to find the student located at the top right of your screen. You can search using a student's first name, last name, parts of the first name or last name, or their CSU ID number. You have to use at least 3 characters in this search. After you select the Options button, which is the 3-line icon located at the top left of your screen, you will be presented with options, which vary depending on your access and permissions. A few of these options include settings, such as institutional profile, appointment preferences, help, log out. Also appointments, where you manage your office hours and student appointments. Students, where you can see all the students assigned to you, take attendance, complete progress surveys, make referrals, and much more. And then services, where you find a comprehensive list of the many services available to students at Cleveland State University. We will quickly review the features within Starfish that you can use to help you throughout a semester. There are additional training sessions that provide more in-depth coverage of each of the features found on the Starfish faculty homepage. In this session, we will quickly review how to find a student support team, make a note, document an interaction, and send an email within Starfish, how to raise a flag or kudos manually, how to set up your office hours, progress surveys, view and download your class roster, take attendance, and find resources. Alright, let's begin. You can view a single student you have access to view using the dynamic search bar found at the top right of all your Starfish screens. You can use last name, first name, or CSU ID, or parts of those to search for a particular student. If you want to look at an entire list or group of students, then you should use the student screen within Starfish. You can get to this screen by selecting the Options button at the top left of your screen, followed by Students. You can control which group of students you see by adjusting the Connection drop-down. You can also go in a specific student's folder from this view by hovering your cursor over their name and then opening the student folder. When you open the Students folder, you can find a great deal of helpful information, particularly a student support team found in Network. In a Student Success Network, you will find staff members that are assigned specifically to that student, which range from academic advisors to graduation coaches. You can exit out of this screen by selecting the X at the top right of that screen, which will then take you back to the screen that you were at before this. Making a note and sending an email through Starfish follow the same few steps. You can make a note or send a note via email to one or more students. You do this by selecting which student or students you want using the checkbox to the left of their names. Then you select Note. A helpful tip: you should never use Message within Starfish. This sends a private note to a student that other staff members are unable to view, so it is important to use Note whenever you want to email a student or make a note. And again, do not use Message. For a note, you're asked to select a note type, a date, and then enter text in the Notes section. Then you can select Submit to save your note. To send a note as an email, you're asked to select a note type and a date. Next, you will need to enter text in the subject area, which will be the subject line of the email sent to the student. You can then enter a message that you want to send a student in the Notes section. Once you are satisfied with your message, select Send a copy of note to student and then Submit. This will then record a note in Starfish and also email it out to the student. You also have the option to email yourself as well. If a student selects Reply from that email, it will not be sent back or recorded in Starfish, but will go back to your university email address. Starfish allows staff and faculty to raise a flag or kudo on a student anytime throughout a semester. To raise a flag, you will select one or more students, followed by the flag button. The same steps are needed or taken when you want to raise a kudo on one or more students as well. Raising a flag or kudo manually typically happens outside of when progress surveys are normally active. Flags are normally for when you have a concern about a student, whereas a kudo is a way to send a positive message to the student within Starfish. You can access your appointments and office hours by selecting the Options button, the three-line icon at the top left of your screen, then Appointments. You will then be taken to your Appointments page. In the first area, you can change your view to either Agenda, Day, Week, or Schedule. Most prefer the Week view. In this section, you can also add office hours, individual appointments, group sessions, events, reserve time, etc. We do not recommend using the Schedule wizard when setting up office hours. In Area 2, you will see that you can navigate back and forth from week to week or day to day. In Area 3, you can select a day you would like to quickly view your office hours. Also, if you see a day in this section that is bold, that means that you have an appointment free that day. In the fourth area of this page, you will see a detailed view of the individuals that have made you a calendar manager. You can view multiple calendars at a single time by checking or enabling multiple people. Their calendars will then be the same color as their name. It is recommended that you do not view more than 5 calendars at a single time in a week view, since they become very confusing. Let's now add an office hour block to your calendar. Creating an office hour block will make your calendar visible to students during a particular day and time. So let's select office hours found in the first area. By default, your schedule is not available to students. Therefore, you must add office hours to let them know when you are available to take appointments. After you select the Office Hours button, you are presented with the following screen. The title can be your name if you're in an office with a lot of people, or if you're teaching different classes, you can make your office hours the various classes that you're instructing for that term. For example, if you teach Bio 101 and 102, you could put Bio 101 office hours in the title to indicate to students scheduling that those office hours are for just that class. You can then create office hours for a single day, repeat weekly, etc. for one or more days in a week. You will then indicate the times you want to be available. Some schedule appointments to be 8 to 5 p.m. and when you use Outlook to schedule breaks and meetings. Others create multiple office hour blocks around their meeting, appointment, breaks, and lunches. You will now select one or more locations where your office hours will be held. Locations must be set up before creating office hours. Again, locations must be set up before creating office hours. Locations are found by selecting the Options button, your name, followed by Appointment Preferences. If you set up your office hours to be held in multiple locations, students will have the ability to select from either of those locations. Alright, next you will select office hour types. There are typically 3 options available to you. Walk-ins for walk-in appointments only, scheduled in walk-ins, which allow you to have appointments set up, but still account for those students that stop by unexpectedly, and then scheduled only, which are for when you want to have appointments only and don't want to account for walk-ins. You will then set up appointment range for appointments. Appointments typically range from 30 minutes to 60 minutes. You can select any range that you think is most appropriate to meet your needs. You will then set up a specific block to be a particular appointment type. If you are teaching and advising students in the same term, you can select one or more options. If you are not a faculty advisor, then course conference will be selected for you by default. For example, if you want to have a separate block of office hours for students in your Bio 101 class, and then set up your appointment type for course conference, which is the appointment type for appointments with students in your courses. If you are also advising 100 bio students, because you're a faculty advisor, you then select faculty advising, which will only display that block of office hours to your advisees. You could also set your block for both as well, which will open it up to both your classes and your advisees. You will then need to enter in basic instructions for your appointment. Last and most importantly, you will then need to enter in a start and end date. Starfish default end date is never. So it is critical that you check your office hours and make sure that your end date is set to the end of term. Once you have done this, you're ready to select Submit to save your work. Once you select Submit, you can go back into your appointment view and check out your calendar. You can see the office hours that you just created for the days and times you selected. If you want to modify an existing block, you'll first hover over the clock in the image to the right, and then select Edit, Cancel, or you can also add a walk-in, provided that you set it up for a scheduled walk-in or walk-in. Unfortunately, this option to add a walk-in is not available if that office hour block was set up for scheduled appointments only. You can then add a student to your office hours if you have walk-in set up by selecting the plus sign within your office hour block. Progress surveys enable instructors to provide feedback for several students at once at key points in the term. Each survey is a collection of tracking items, which include flags, kudos, to-dos, and referrals, that instructors select and comment on for students in each course. We typically send surveys out during Week 2, Week 5, and Week 9. You can find progress surveys via your Student tab. You can get to this tab by selecting the Options button, the 3-line button at the top left of your screen, followed by Students, and then Progress Survey. The Progress Survey tab will be present throughout the entire semester, even when there aren't any active surveys. If you don't have any active progress surveys, you will see the following screen. At the top tab, you will see the number of active surveys you have to complete. In this example, there are 4 active surveys that need to be completed. You have the option to navigate between the various surveys you have to complete, view the last date and time the survey was saved, and when the survey is due. You will view your course roster and see the tracking items associated with that particular survey. Each progress survey contains tracking items, again, which include flags, kudos, etc. In this example, there are 2 tracking items in this survey. On the screen, you can search for a specific student by selecting Search and entering in the student's first name, last name, CSU ID, or up to 3 characters. You can also learn more about tracking items displayed in the survey by selecting the Info button next to the search. You will go down your class roster and complete your survey by selecting the item most relevant to each student. Some tracking items require comments. You can enter in the comment and then collapse it once you are finished writing it. It is important to know that you do not have to raise a tracking item for each student. As you complete your survey, Starfish is automatically saving your work behind the scenes. You can view this at the top left of the screen. Once you have completed your survey, you will select Submit. If you aren't ready to submit, then check the Save Time and Date at the top left of your screen to see when your work was last saved. Then feel free to navigate to other screens or exit out of Starfish. You can come back again and begin where you left off, provided that you do this before the due date of that particular progress survey. It is important to note that you are unable to submit a progress survey that is not completed fully. Also, you will not be able to re-access a survey once you click Submit. Again, you cannot access a survey that was once submitted. If you want to reset the survey and start over, you will need to select the Reset button at the bottom left of the screen. Keep in mind that this deletes all of the work that you did for that particular survey. Starfish allows you to view all of the undergraduate students and their photos in your class by selecting Print Roster via the Attendance tab. From the Attendance tab, you can also take attendance, view your class schedule, and download your attendance report. To take attendance, you will select Record Attendance. After you select a class, then a meeting time, you will then be taken to the following screen where you can take attendance. You have 4 options to record attendance. These include present, absent, excused, and tardy. Once you mark attendance, you can select Save, and when you come back to view this, you will see the following screen and an overview of the class attendance for that day. Once you record attendance, you will see when the attendance was last recorded at the top of the screen and an overview of the attendance for that meeting. You can go back and edit or view previous records at any time by selecting Edit at the top of the screen in the area that displays the last time attendance was updated, or delete that meeting time. Lastly, you are able to find helpful resources and services to students within Starfish. You can find services by selecting the Options button at the top left of your screen, followed by Services. Here you can find a summary about that service or resource along with contact information. In this training session, we discussed how to find a student support team, how to make a note and document an interaction and send an email within Starfish, raise a flag or kudos manually, office hours, progress surveys, how to view your class roster, take attendance, and find resources and services within Starfish. This concludes this training session. Please reach out to our Starfish support team if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. We thank you for your time, your use of Starfish, and commitment to student success at Cleveland State University.